All right, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Online a Fishing Podcast. It's me here, Tony, with my co-host Tim, and tonight we got a good show for you. We're going to be doing a brief recap of the North 75 Shootout and who won, and some total inches, highlights, and other things. So first, I'm going to introduce my guest. In first place with 89.75 inches was Matt Skucius. Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. CP in second place with 86.5 inches. How you doing tonight?
Good. Hey, everyone.
Good. And in third place with 86.25 inches, Jennifer Solberg. Jennifer, how you doing?
Good. How you guys?
Doing good.
All right. And with big bass winner of a 20-inch largemouth was Austin Clements. Did I say that right?
Yep, you said it right.
All right. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Well, welcome everybody. Before we get started asking you guys questions, I just kind of like to do a quick rundown of some of the upcoming tournaments going on. There's a couple for Sunflower, which is like weekly on Tuesday with Lone Star Lake next week. There's a Kanza Yak Bass League at Lone Star Lake on the 24th of May. If you're in Missouri, there's the Moyak Table Rock Lake coming up. And then if you're doing the Bassmasters at 10 Killer, May 31st and June 1st. And then our next tournament for the Kansas Kayak Anglers is Saturday, June 7th at Big Hill in southeast Kansas. If I missed any, feel free to drop them in the comments. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. We don't normally have Nebraska people on here, which is a nice change. So if you guys have any local tournament schedules that you're doing, or anything coming up that you guys want to talk about, I'll start with you, Jennifer.
Well, we've got coming up May 17th. And of course, we've online. So that'll be, then the next one will be Elwood, June 7th. We have Brushy Creek on the 18th. The Omaha Road on the 9th. And we pull some pretty big ones out of Omaha. So that should be fun. And then South Dakota on September 13th, the glacial lakes up there. And then Mazingo will be our championship on October 4th.
Awesome. CP, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, we have two clubs in Nebraska, so I do both of them too. We have the Sticks and then we have Heartland. So I think the June one for the Sticks is the Lincoln Road Runner. And then I have to look. I do Iowa too. I try to sneak in stuff to do Iowa too.
Nice.
So I think they have the Waspy River, I think, in June. But I'll do the 3 mile one. I won't do that one, maybe. But I'll do the 3 mile one in July, I believe. So I want to do another Kansas one, honestly. I gotta look at your guys because I think I look.
We're good down here, bud.
Yeah, I like that. I had a good time. Not just win, but everybody was cool there, and I like the Kansas Lake, honestly. Our lakes are not very good here in Nebraska, so
Yeah.
I like Kansas Lake and I like Iowa lakes and stuff. So
Yeah,
there'll be
love to have you.
Wilson and Cedar Bluffs at the end of the season for championships. Look into those if you're going to do one.
I don't know about
Those are
Wilson
really-
though.
Yeah, we don't have any PTSD from that one at the end of the year, so
I had a terrible time there last year.
yeah.
All right. For the Kansas Kayak Anglers Big Bass, they extended the deadline to May 15th. So if you want to partake in that, they extended it so you'll have 6 months to catch 6 fish, and it's the top 6 fish out of eight months. But since 2 months are already done, it'll be the next 6 months, so you can still have a chance. And so let's see. Oh, what's the bait company?
Golden Custom.
Golden Custom. Thank you. Yeah, we'll be giving away for anybody that's partaking. There'll be 4 of those. I won't just go to the winners. It's going to be drawn between all the participants. So an opportunity to get one of those. AOI Rookie of the Year and Big Bass Bonanza has been updated with last week's numbers. So if you haven't looked at that yet, check that out on the KK website. And that's really all I have for updates and upcoming events. So Tim, I'll kick it over to you to talking to the anglers about themselves.
Yeah. So we'll talk about who's on the line. Matt, we'll start with you. How long have you been fishing for? In general?
Be 40 in June, so I'd say I've been fishing at least 35 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Grew up fishing, so it's been in my family all along.
You've been more hunting or more fishing, or kind of a combination of both, or?
I try to split it up, during the year. About the time October, November rolls around, I'd rather be in the tree stand out in the woods than on the water. But, about the time March, April rolls around, I'd rather be on the water. So kind of get out whenever I can, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some 70-degree days in December and January, and it's hard to get off the water if it's, open and not iced up.
Yeah. Okay. CP, what about yourself? How long you been fishing for?
Well, since I was a kid, but really casually though, like just with a wacky worm or something with cheap spinning reels and stuff. I only got into serious kayak fishing like maybe 6-7 years ago.
Okay. Very nice. Jennifer?
Well, Mom says to have a fishing pole in my hand like 3. So I've been fishing quite a while, but usually it was just a worm and a bobber. I didn't really start bass fishing until like 2020.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive. Austin, what about yourself?
I've been fishing most of my life. Started with like trout and salmon when I was younger in Washington State. And then when we moved to Kansas, I focused on bass from 8 years old all the way till now. So.
In Washington, is it more like smallmouth, or is it?
We caught smallmouth up there a decent amount, but I was mostly fishing for trout and salmon, stuff like that.
Okay, very nice. Well, Matt, we'll go back to you. So how did you get into kayak fishing? What made you get into kayak fishing? Did you do boats before and then jump in, or?
Yeah, I'd done the boater side as a co-angler and then a couple tournaments as a boater. And then I think I seen some kayak guys on the water one day, just started talking to them. One thing led to the next and found a Facebook page and then the Flint Hills kayak anglers and started fishing with them out of my old Jackson Kilroy back in the day. And then from there, it's just gone uphill. They merged into the Kansas Kayak Anglers and then done the Eco Bass tournament last year. So I think I'm going on 4 or 5 years. So I feel like I'm still getting my feet wet, but I mean, every year there's always something different to participate in or somewhere different to go fish. And then with all the online tournaments, I mean, you can fish every day of the week and every weekend, and there's always something to compete in if you want to and have the time.
I was talking to Tony about this. It kind of feels like just going out to fish anymore. I have to be in like a monthly tournament because I'm like, I'm wasting my fish and catching them. I need to have those fish measured and put up on the board. So it's kind of ruined me on that stuff. But yeah, it's hard just to go out to have fun fish. So
we've been doing the CPR, the Marty Hughes one too. So that's all year long. So at least I always get to submit all my fish, even if they're only 8 inches.
But good luck catching Clayton.
Yeah.
My goodness. CP, what about yourself? How did you get into kayak fishing specifically? And did you do anything before that, or did you just jump right into kayak fishing?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Just like I said before, it was just on the bank and stuff, and just a straight tail worm back then. Didn't know anything about competitive bass fishing. But I got introduced to kayak fishing from a friend that I used to work with. He was in it, and he ran the club too. Actually, it was Josh Workman. I don't know if you guys know him. I don't know what happened to him now, but I don't really see him anymore. But he introduced me to kayak fishing. So that's how I got into it.
Okay, how long you been doing it for?
I think since 2019, so
19.
like 5 or 6 years. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Jennifer, go ahead.
Started during COVID. My dad's girlfriend actually got sit in kayaks, and they took us out to the lake one day, and I went out in the middle of the lake and threw out oh gosh, what did I even throw?
A yum dinger?
No, it was some kind of balsa bait, and ended up catching a 17-inch bass.
Oh wow!
I hooked after that, so I went and bought, and it was just a little lifetime sit-in kayak, and started doing the online tournaments. just to get my feet wet.
Very nice. And you start with the Heartland, then that's where you started with, and
No, I actually started with both the sticks and Heartland,
okay.
but I kind of transferred over to Heartland because they allowed motors.
Oh, gotcha. Very nice. Now I kind of correlate the sticks with the western part of Nebraska. Is it pretty much the whole Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, or is it they stay west? It seems like. Am I wrong with that, or is the sticks?
They used to go out west a lot, but the lakes are just terrible.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, we used to we go to like well, Merritt's decent, I guess, but like Sherman is just a walleye lake. They don't even stop bass, and then we'll go to Medicine Creek, or like I think the person that won it caught like 2 or 3 fish or something.
Oh, wow.
Like that. So you can imagine turnout is not going to be very good if you drive all the way out west and not catch anything. So they've been doing a better job of picking the right lakes out west, but our lakes aren't very good for bass fishing. It's more walleye fishing than anything.
Okay. All right. Austin, how did you get into kayak fishing?
It was cheaper for me at that point. His price point was reasonable, and didn't have to worry about motor breaking down. So I just went with a kayak first, and then I went to a bass boat, then back to a kayak. So
okay, which one do you like better?
I like kayak fishing better.
Yeah,
it's less headaches.
Tony will tell you a story about going out on a boat on a guided trip, and he wanted to go back in his kayak. He was like, I don't feel comfortable on here. I want my kayak back.
Yeah, I was up at Chequamegon Bay in Wisconsin, and the guide was okay. I mean, he wasn't like the best guide I've ever had, and he wasn't the worst, but I was like, this just doesn't feel right. I was out fishing for big smallmouth. I did catch like almost a 5-pounder, but I was like, man, this is just, I need to be in my kayak. It's just so much better.
Well, Matt, we'll go back to you. What was your first kayak tournament that you entered, fishing tournament? And do you remember it? I mean, were you nervous, scared? Did you do well?
If I recall, I want to say it was like during the COVID time frame. So they did a bunch of road runners where you could still submit fish online, but you just picked your own body of water.
Oh, nice.
And I remember I picked Milford as my lake. I think I only submitted 3 fish for that tournament, but I mean, I was just getting my feet wet and, just, I don't want to say nervous about the whole situation, but I wasn't really aware of what I was going to be doing or where I was going to be going. And coming from a boat to a kayak, completely different because you're more
on Milford.
Yeah. So of course I picked the worst side for the wind direction that day, so that didn't help me out any either. But the first one was just a learning experience, and then after that, started to kind of reach out and test different waters and see what was around me, and just go from there, learn from my mistakes, and keep moving.
Nice, very nice. Do you remember how you did as far as like, what you caught 3, but did you?
Yeah, it was 3 fish. I think my biggest for that event was like a 17-inch smallmouth, and
it's not bad.
I mean, it was just new to me. It was something different I wanted to try, get into, and I mean, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it at first, and here I am, 4 or 5 years later, and I'm still playing.
Still kicking our butts.
I don't know about
One
that.
month at a time. CP, what about yourself? Do you? When was your first fishing kayak tournament, and were you scared, nervous? Did you jump right in, both feet? And
yeah, I was scared, nervous, and intimidated, and all those factors. I never stunk in my first tournament. So
did you?
Yeah, you don't imagine it was a very good experience, but I stuck with it. Eventually got better, and then so
very nice. Yeah, I told this last time, but I've been fishing for like 33 years, I think, and I'm the best pond fisherman in the world, right? I can go out and catch so many fish at a pond. I entered the Mine Wildlife area. I'm like, I'm going to kick these boys' butts. Like, they don't even know what's coming. I finished, I think, dead last. I caught like 3 10-inch fish, and I'm like, okay, it'll humble you real quick. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. It's it teaches you so much, and just every year you learn 5 years worth of stuff in 1 year, it seems like, tournament fishing. But yeah, Jennifer, what about yourself?
I started with the sticks in 2022, and it was the Lincoln Roadrunner, and I chose Wildwood. And it was probably the worst tournament I've ever. The winds were like 30 miles per hour, and I was terrified because I hadn't been in a kayak very long. And so I probably got off the water around 11 a.m. and didn't catch a single fish.
Wow. Yeah. I'm seeing a pattern here with all of our first tournaments. So if you're new, just keep with it. You'll be all right. So, and then you were done at about 11. You were just, I'm done.
Yeah, the waves were so bad, and the water was still really, really cold. So I was terrified.
Yeah, that's understandable for sure. Well, Austin, what about yourself?
First kayak tournament was Melbourne, the last one
Okay.
we just had with you guys. I didn't stay on the water the whole day. I was bad day. I caught one drum, and I had one smallmouth up to the boat. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of playing the wind, so I called it quits at noon, and we just went home.
Yeah.
I used to fish for the junior bassmasters through high school and stuff like that, bank tournaments and some boat tournaments all through high school and stuff like that. But so it wasn't like necessarily my first tournament fishing, but first like measuring board tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah. The worst is when they jump off the board because you forget to put your net up the first couple of pictures, and you're like, that's nice. But all right,
Good thing you didn't give up.
What's
It's
that?
a good thing you didn't give up, Austin. Your second tournament was much better.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
So this next question you can lie on. We'll still believe you. What's your favorite body of water to fish and why? And you can lie on that if you want to and just say something. You don't have to say your favorite lake, but we kind of know some people's favorite lakes around here. But yeah. Matt, we'll start with you.
I'd have to say like Gary County because it's 10 minutes south of my town, and I pretty much know it like the back of my hand on where to go and catch fish. Wilson comes in a close second though. Actually, done a lot of walleye fishing out there growing up, and then I got to thank Heartland for this pretty bad.
Oh no!
So Wilson's a close second on that.
Yeah, very nice. I was watching that tournament live, and I was like, when are people going to start posting their fish? Like, this is 35 inches. I'm like, no, there's no way. And then I was like, no kidding. It was that bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, I can't believe that.
It haunts Jennifer still to this day, I think.
Well, I heard,
Stay on the water, I might have beat you.
well, I heard it was wind and a boat tournament, and there was someone on every point, and it was just a horrible, cold, nasty weather.
Yep.
But, very interesting. CP, what about yourself? What's your favorite lake to fish and why? And you can lie also, so the Nebraska guys don't know where you fish. So,
well, the two lakes that I have a hard time picking over are all both in Iowa. So
yeah,
so they wouldn't have a problem. It's either the Okoboji Lakes or Blackhawk. I really do like Blackhawk though. Okay. So my kind of fishing, 3 feet of water, no live scope, just fish docks. So
you could walk across that lake.
Really?
Yeah, it's super shallow.
I don't think I've ever heard of it. Is it a Smalley lake or a largemouth then? Smalley?
No, I think it's just, I don't know if Smallies can live in there. They could have Smallies in there. Well, we just caught largies there.
Okay. Interesting.
Anything of size?
A lot of them are in the 18, 19, 17 range. Nice. So everybody caught fish. But there's some good fish in there. But it's just shallow dock fishing is all it is.
Okay. Very nice. Jennifer, what's your favorite body of water to fish and why?
Probably Viking. That's over in Iowa. And I like it just because I really started fishing over there. And so I know it really well. But Wilson's probably a second for me.
Yeah, Wilson's good. Very nice. Austin?
Probably Wilson Lake. It's one of the probably better lakes closer to my house. And just got good quality fish. And I like the structure and stuff and the rocks and stuff like that.
Very nice. Is it still down quite a bit? I think
I haven't been out there all this year.
All right. Very nice. Tony, I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite lake to fish and why? I know we weren't.
Cedar Bluffs.
Cedar
for
Bluff,
as
I
far as
can see
Kansas.
that.
I got my first trophy there in my first year doing tournaments. I got like third in the KBN. And then last year I got second with 92.75 inches. Thought I was like, oh, I got this. I'm going to win this. That's a lot of, And then Jay got 95 inches there. And another third place got 92.75 as well. So, yeah. And then there was, I think it was Matt, you did pretty well there too. Didn't you have like 89?
Yeah, I think I had high 80s out there.
So, I mean, it's a 90 inch day easily. And I know other people have talked about having almost a 100-inch day there. So it's definitely like I said, end of October, you should really consider it. So
that was an interesting day. I caught 4 fish, small ones. Here comes Matt, throws his stuff out the side, catches a 16 and like throws it back. And I'm like, what the? And then he catches like another 16 and throws it back. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I haven't caught 5 fish yet. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to go home. But you caught a 22 out there, Matt, didn't you? Cedar?
Yeah. I stayed out there after we got done fishing our tournament, just fun fishing, and caught a 22 that evening. And I think that really would have helped out there in the tournament. But of course, you don't catch them when you need them.
No. Very nice. All right. What's one piece of gear you never leave home without? Matt, we'll talk to you about that. What's one piece that you have to have, or even if it's a rod or a bait, or what's one piece of gear that you have to have that you'd feel?
You can thank Scott for this one, Scott Reese. He's got me hooked on swim baits.
Yeah.
There's just something about seeing a bass come out of the brush pile and just inhale the swim bait that you're, working back towards you. It's addictive. I got quite the collection now, and that helped me at Banner. So I'll definitely have a couple with me anytime I go out. They just seem to trigger the bigger fish if they're in the area you're in. So it's something they don't see very often, I think.
How many followers would you say you get, like, on average? Like, you see the big ones come out after them, don't you? Like, then they just follow it back. And
so when we fished Cedar Bluff, I would have followers. Like, they weren't totally committed to eating the bait, but they would come out and look at it. So then I knew, okay, there's a fish there. So then I'd toss like a tube or a worm in and just let it sit in there, let it soak, and then they'd finally eat it. So I don't know if they're gun shy, maybe not that hungry, but it would definitely have their attention and give away their position to where they were.
Very nice. That makes sense. All right. That's a good answer. CP, what about yourself? What's one piece of gear you'd never leave home without?
It'd probably be a bait too. I would say a buzz bait. I throw a buzz bait almost the entire year. So
very nice. Black or white or purple?
I only bring 2 colors. It was the 2 colors you mentioned, black and white. It depends on water clarity and stuff, but I only throw 2 colors, black and white.
Okay. Very nice. Jennifer, what about yourself?
Well, Yumdinger, of course.
I bet so. Very nice. Anything else?
Probably my motor, XM3.
Yeah.
What's your go-to Yumdinger color?
Oh, I don't put that up.
Well, I had a pink fluke on for Pony, and she's like, I threw that yesterday. I didn't catch a single fish. I'm like, oh, dang it. So if you caught him on a pink fluke, I'm going to be mad.
Pink ones.
Yeah. But all right. Austin, what about yourself?
I'm probably going to not go home without a bass jig. I like using bass jigs, flipping brush, stuff like that with. Something I usually like having on hand. Very
nice. Black and blue or a green pumpkin? What do you think?
I like having black and blue, and then green pumpkin or anything with brown in it. I usually like having one of those on.
Very nice. All right. Well, Tony, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to shut up.
Yeah. What's up, Derek? Just give him a shout
Derek,
out.
what's going on?
I'd be curious. I see we got some listeners on. Drop in the comments where you're listening from. It'd be great to hear from you. So, so we're going to talk kind of strategy. Everybody wants to know, how you did it, how you beat them. But what was kind of your game plan going into the tournament? We'll start with Matt.
So I figured Pony would be probably beat to death or overcrowded. Shawnee, I just really haven't had much experience on there, so I went with Banner, which I've been on before. I really didn't think it was going to have the inches to win, but then once I got there pre-fishing, I seen it had came up maybe like 2 or 3 feet, and some of the grass along the shoreline was flooded. Came across a little bit of a spinnerbait pattern. Caught a couple fish out of the wood. They were holding tight to the structure, and I was like, if I beat enough wood and hit these flooded bushes and this grass, I was like, I might be able to pull something out. The weather overnight didn't help. The storms rolling through. Some of the fish had pulled off. Got lucky in the morning. Had a small rock pile where I caught 2 right away, and that really kind of like propelled me through the rest of the day to keep up tempo. And by the end of the day, my arms hurt from chucking that spinnerbait so much, but had to stick with it. Then got there towards the end, and I think I seen CP had like 86 inches, and I was like, man, we are like half inch off from each other, but I really wasn't for sure how much I had. So that's when I picked up that glide bait for the last half hour, 45 minutes. I culled out a 15-inch fish with an 18 and a half. I was like, surely that sealed the deal, because if it didn't, I'm toast. I'm done. So got kind of lucky on that ordeal, but just got to stick with it. And I think you learn that, going through the years kayak fishing. So always learning, always improving, stick with it. You never know when it's going to happen. Just to be prepared for that moment.
Excellent. Thank you. CP, what about you? What was your game plan going into the tournament?
Yeah, I didn't practice. But I fished Pony Creek before, like a few times, like 3 or 4 times before. So I kind of know how to lake setups and stuff like that. And it's small lakes. There's only, so many things. I didn't really know the offshore stuff really well. Usually I would just fish the, whatever's on the bank. But first thing in the morning, actually, I was the last one at the boat ramp to launch. I went to my spot. It was just a place where there's a lot of there was laydowns. There's quite a few laydowns and stuff. But when I got there, nobody was there. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Because I figured somebody would be there. But it was choked with grass, and that's why it was. So first thing in the morning, I threw a frog. I was like, this looks real froggy. Like, I love throwing a frog. I got confidence in it. I threw it for like 20 minutes, nothing. And I knew right then and there, like, I'm in trouble. Like, this is not good. So I think I didn't catch a fish for like the first 2 hours of the tournament. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to find a place where there wasn't a lot of grass, like just sparse grass and stuff like that. I didn't know, I knew the fish were in the funk, like they weren't chasing anything. They weren't willing to commit to a buzzbait or a frog. So what I wanted to do was just finesse fish. I threw a shaky head for the rest of the day. I found some places where either harsh spots or just anomalies where the grass was really sparse. And I think they're in the grass too, but I didn't want to pick it apart. I didn't have the right tools to pick it apart. So anytime I would see either a rocky bank or laydowns that didn't have grass, I would cast my shaky head up there. So I caught 3 fish right away at doing that, but then I didn't catch anything till 11 until I I found this rock point off the lake that had a shallow drop off. Like, it went out a ways and it dropped off. And I didn't see the fish on live scope per se. I actually did use my live scope when I got there. But I did see the drop off. So I would throw my shaky head up there and drag it and let it drop off to the bottom, and they would bite it either a drop off or dead stick it. And I stayed there the rest of the tournament. And I lost quite a few fish too, actually.
Wow.
Jennifer, what about you? And thanks, CP.
Well, my game plan's always just to catch 5 fish, but started over at Pony Creek because that's the only one I'd ever fished before. I fished there once, and the numbers on that lake looked pretty good, so I figured I'd at least be able to catch 5. But got out there, and they started blowing up around standing timber. So I was pretty excited about that, but I couldn't get any to bite right around the timber. But I knew that they were up shallow. So went up shallow, but I had to go past the weed line in order to get anything because they were all on beds. Probably caught my first one around like 7:20, and it was an 18-incher. So I knew they were up there. So that's what I pretty much did the entire morning, is all along the shoreline.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Austin, what about you?
Honestly, I really didn't have a good idea what I was doing other than going to the closest lake to my house at that point and hoping to catch fish, because I never pre-fished any of these lakes probably since high school. So I really didn't have an idea what I was doing other than just showing up and hoping to catch fish. But I was just throwing chatterbaits along the bank and hitting brush piles in the weed beds and bouncing off rocks and jerking it through the weed beds. Every time I jerked it through the weed beds, usually I had decent fish. Hit it usually pretty quick.
Very nice.
Well, your strategy worked for you. So
Yeah.
thanks. Scott says, hey guys, I regret and apologize for hyping up glide baits to Matt. He didn't need any more. I had the energy over everyone. Thanks, Scott. You guys kind of already talked about which lakes you chose and kind of why. And Matt, you kind of mentioned it with the turning point in the last 30 minutes, but maybe go in a little bit more about the turning point in your day that helped lock in your final numbers. Was it just kind of the same all day, other than when you switched to glide bait?
So like I said, I caught my first two within like 3 casts, and I was feeling pretty good about that. Then I caught one out of the grass where I figured there's going to be one, and I had a limit pretty quick by like maybe 9:30, and then that wind seemed to start blowing out of the northeast across the lake. I thought that would help, but I think it might have turned them off just a little bit. For some reason, they just weren't cooperating anymore. Went through the grass another time or two, went back, hit the standing timber, pulled one off the timber, and then it was like 11, almost noon. And I felt like I had beat that area enough, and a few other guys had gone through there doing the same thing I had. So I switched to I guess it'd be north side of the lake over by the campground boat ramp. I thought that water looked a little bit cleaner, and that's when I started throwing that glide bait around. I could see down maybe 3 foot, 2-3 foot, but just tossing it around the patches of grass that were under the water, submerged, or a tree limb that had blown in or whatever. Just trying to find one of them bigger fish that maybe had moved up shallow with the warmer temperatures to see if I could get her to commit and eat. So, and it worked out in my favor. So, just held strong with what I was doing.
Right. Matt, did you say you think they were on beds too there at Banner, or were they moving up?
I didn't see any personally on beds. There may have been a few on beds that I didn't see, maybe, because the water is slightly stained. A couple of the bigger fish that I caught, I feel they still had eggs. So I think they were like moving up, preparing to spawn, getting closer to the bank. But I think that front that came through with them thunderstorms that afternoon, Friday, I think kind of put a damper on things too, personally.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. CP, what about you? Is there any major turning point in the day?
Yeah, I think around 11 is when I only had 3 fish at that time. I had 2 good keepers, but I had like a 13-incher as my last fish. So when I roll up to that rocky point, that turned everything. I caught 2 18s there. I lost like 3 or 4 upgrades. But wow. Yeah, that was my turning point. So
thank you. Jennifer?
It was probably around 1 o'clock when I caught a 16.5 and I tied CP. Couldn't hang on to it though.
It was close. It was really close.
Now, was that on a Yumdinger too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yumdinger 2.0.
Yeah, Yumdinger 2.
Austin, what about you?
My turning point of the day was probably at like 2 o'clock. I caught a 16-incher. And then like next cast after that, I caught the 20-incher, and that replaced like a 12 3/4, I think, and
Oh,
a 12
wow.
1/4.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's a big upgrade.
So I got a decent amount of inches gained just right in those two fish. And then my two smallest fish, I couldn't get rid of I think a 13 3/4 and like a 13 or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of those at Lake Shawnee.
Yeah,
That's actually why I didn't go, because I thought that's all I was going to get, even though it's 5 minutes from my house. So, all right. We kind of talked about challenges that you face with weather and, the pressure. A lot of people fishing at Pony. There's a lot less people. I think there's only four or five of us at Banner. And how many you think there was up there, Austin, at Shawnee Lake? 10?
There's like 10 to 12 people.
Yeah, and I think there's three or four people that went to the Shawnee North State Lake too. So sounded like they had a lot of little bass there, but all caught their limits. So kind of last question about tournaments. Is there anything else anybody wants to add before I add the last question about your day on the water and any turning points or baits or anything else you want to talk about?
So when are you going to go back up to Pony and find that hard spot CP was fishing?
Probably tomorrow.
I see
I
you
took tomorrow
taking
off.
notes up there.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody saw me. It's on the way back.
You know it's something good when CP stays in one place.
Yeah, I stayed in one place. I was like, I'm not leaving this.
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about. I'm pretty sure, but
Yeah, I don't know. I've only fished up there maybe 3 times total. It is about an hour and a half drive almost for me because I'm all the way south of Topeka. But I do want to get back up there. I didn't really want to fish it before the tournament because I knew there'd be so many people up there. I was actually going with Matt's idea, and it didn't work for me, but it worked for him. So I thought there'd be less people Banner. I kind of like my space, so to do my thing. And I just got in my own head. I lost a big one right at the beginning in a tree. Lost it on a tree, and that was just my day went down from there. So I think I got in my own head. But there's the next tournament. I needed a rude awakening, I guess. So do you guys have any pre-tournament rituals, superstitions? You put on any special socks? Boys wear the same hat? Anything? Matt, start with you.
Can't say I have anything really. I mean, just go through my tackle, make sure everything's prepared the night before. Just make sure I have everything ready, tied on. So pretty easy going. So
CP, what about you?
I think it's something to start this year. I'm doing is that the day before the tournament. I've done a few of them, but I retied everything. So I think a lot of people do that though. But I just retied everything. I cut off everything, just retie it.
It's good practice. I should do it more often. So, what glide bait did Matt use?
Oh, that's
Derek
a big
wanting to know.
secret.
That's a secret.
what color?
The Yumdinger glide bait, is that a thing?
I'll see if I got it.
Uh-oh,
He's
here
gonna
he
go look
goes.
for it. In the meantime, while he's looking for it, Jennifer, what you got? Any rituals, superstitions?
No rituals and no superstitions. I will take a whole pile of bananas on my boat.
I think it was somebody else that does that. I'm trying to think who that was.
Wasn't somebody did that to James last year, didn't they? Or they put a snake on his boat or something, or his kayak?
We throw bananas around all the time.
Remember that. Austin, what about you? I know you said you just kind of got back into it, but is there anything you're going to do now that because Shawnee Lake worked out?
I can't think of anything really I do other than just tie my lures on the night before and then make sure I have my cup of coffee in the morning. That's about it.
Yeah, the same. I got to have my coffee. So I would say
What about
that's
you,
actually
Tony?
I would say that's actually my ritual. Is I usually give myself an hour before I have to leave the house or wherever I'm at, so I can have my coffee and drink my full cup of coffee, and then pour me a second one for the road. So I always backtrack in my head the night before. Okay, so line's in at 6:30. I got to be there at 6. It takes me 45 minutes. 5:15. I got to leave here by. Okay, I got to get up at 4:15. That's 1 hour. Okay, set my alarm for 4. So I'm very methodical about that because I'm afraid I'm going to show up late or something. So, or oversleep. I've done that in my life on other things many a times. So, Matt, did you bring it up? Did you find it?
I did find it.
You gonna share it?
Sure. Figure out where the camera is.
Oh, that's
So
Purdy's.
the guy that makes these, his name is Herschel Oaks, and he's out of Tennessee. And he doesn't he doesn't mass produce them. But he just does it as a retirement hobby. And I mean, I got probably close to 20 swim baits now. And that's just one of the more recent ones that I've picked up, and I've been experimenting with it and throwing it around. So just something I'm starting to build confidence in. So
That's a
but
gorgeous
they all got
bait.
their time and place.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it's a gorgeous bait. That had some shine to it. I like that.
Yeah.
So great paint job.
Do you find that glide baits work better in clear water or stained water or muddy water, or what do you find they work the best in?
I haven't really fished anything muddy with them. I want to say everything has been like 2 foot or more visibility. I know last winter I threw the one I got from Golden Customs, and I could probably see down 5-6 feet in the water. And I'm watching that bait thinking, man, that thing looks good. And then you look down further in the water column, and you can literally see the fish looking up at it like,
oh, man.
I'm going to eat that. And so, I mean, yeah, it's a rush. It really is. So who thought I'd be throwing $100 swim baits out there? But,
What pole do you use?
Say what?
What pole do you use with those?
I got a
He's gonna go get it.
I think that was on my 7.6 swim bait rod, 2 to 6 ounce, and I think it was
Dobbins?
like medium heavy. What was that?
Do you throw
What's
a
the
Dobbins
brand?
rod, or what do you put it on? Dobbins or?
Yeah, well, yeah, I got a Dobbins, and I got a couple other new ones that I'm experimenting with. So, tried to find one a little bit shorter, something more in the 7 foot range. It just seems like swinging an 8.5 foot swim bait rod out of a kayak can get kind of cumbersome at times. So, plus limited on space too.
I've never really thrown them much, but I told myself I was going to try to throw them more this year. I picked up at their Kayak Jack's thing in Lincoln. Was it Lincoln? Where was it? Auburn?
No,
Auburn.
Yeah. I picked up Jake Hepner was there, and he sold me one. He had some rods, and I bought like a 7.6. Was it Victory St. Croix Victory rod, just for throwing some bigger baits. And I've only thrown them a little bit, so my thought is if I can find a place where the fish are biting and start throwing some bigger baits in there, maybe I can build up some confidence. Because I haven't caught anything on them yet, to be honest with you. But I haven't thrown them a whole lot, so I figured I'm gonna be ultra finesse and then super big for after I get my limit. That's kind of my thought for this year. But anybody else throw big baits? I'd like to hear what you guys use. Anybody?
I've experimented with it, but I haven't had that much luck with it though. I'll get followers, but I don't use expensive swim baits either. I bought a Mike Buka one. I actually really liked it. The great action stuff is the $40 one.
Yeah,
and I like the 6-inch one because I could throw it on like what Matt was saying, like a 7 foot heavy rod or like something a little shorter. It's not as heavy, but then I could cast it around cover and stuff. But I haven't had that much luck with it.
I heard they have a really good glide to them too. For the price, they work.
Yeah, I really like it because you can burn it and it will like serpentine, but you can also just walk it too, or whatever, chop it, I guess is the correct term.
Yeah.
And it sinks really slowly, so it's probably not a good deep water bait, but it's good for up shallow. And it's not too bad. I think it's like a little over 2 ounce or 2.5 ounce or something like that. So
I'm horrible with names, even when it comes to baits. So Tim, what was that 6 cents one I bought? Do you remember?
Oh, it's like the Trace.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
For a cheap bait, they work good too. I've got some big wiper on.
I figured I'd start with cheap stuff because when I lose it, I won't cry so much. Yeah. What kind of line do you guys use? I'd be curious.
Like 25.
Like 25 pound fluoro. What do you throw? What kind of line you throwing?
I'm actually using mono, 17-pound mono.
Really?
So I like the super slow sink glide baits too. That way, if I do throw it off, I got enough time, hopefully, to get over there and save it before it hits the bottom.
I'd be
I like that
jumping in
idea.
the water.
I don't throw it 2 miles either. I'll throw it 20, 25 yards. I'm not casting all the way across the lake either. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I baby it too much. Maybe I should give it a little more oomph out there and it'd get some better results. But time will tell.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Tim, you had some questions for Austin. I'll move it over to you.
Yeah. Well, we already kind of talked about it.
Oh, yeah, we
basically.
did, didn't we?
Yeah. So I just came up with a couple other questions at the top of my head. Matt, we'll start with you. What's your PB largemouth and smallmouth? And do you remember what you caught them on?
I have caught, I think, 2 22-inch largemouth, one at Cedar Bluff and then one at Wabaunsee. Cedar Bluff was spinnerbait, and then Wabaunsee was on a Ned rig. And then a smallmouth, I'd have to go probably out to Glen Elder way back in my Votech days. When I was at Beloit, I'd go out there, fish Glen Elder, fish the jetties, and I think I caught around a 5.5, 6 pound smallmouth out there one evening. So, but I've pulled out some pretty good smallmouth, 21 and a half inches, but they've all been super skinny too. So I don't weigh a whole lot anymore.
Okay.
Somebody
CP? Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I would say somebody asked me the other day that they were watching another podcast, and there's no reason to go to Kansas to chase smallmouth, but I would disagree. There's some nice ones in Kansas. I mean, I've caught my PP 4, and there's 5. I know a lot of people have caught 5 and close to 6, so they're definitely around.
Yeah, for sure. CP, what about yourself?
For larges, I think my longest is like 21 and a quarter, maybe. I think I caught like 3 of them, 21 and a quarter. I don't know if I ever caught a 21 and a half. Don't have a scale really on my boat, so I don't ever weigh them.
Okay.
But some of the ones that weigh a lot, they're shorter, some of them are long and skinny. So, but I think my longest is, I want to say either 21 and a half, 21 and a quarter. I don't keep track of it, honestly.
Yeah.
As long as they're over 20, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a good day. Jennifer?
My largemouth was probably 20 3/4, and it was only about 5 1/4 pound. My smallmouth was over at Wilson. I keep beating my PBs over at Wilson, so it was 19 3/4.
What was that again?
19 3/4.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Was it like a 5 pounder, you think, or a 4 pounder? Was it fat? And
It wasn't too fat. It was pretty skinny.
okay, very nice. Austin?
My biggest largemouth is probably I think like 21 3/4. It's probably my biggest largemouth. I caught out of Maxwell or McPherson County Lake or whatever you guys want to call it.
Yep.
And then my biggest smallmouth is probably out of Wilson, and it weighed right at 3 pounds.
Very nice.
I caught that on a Whopper Plopper.
Is it McPherson's about 40 acres, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not very big.
Is it worth going out there? I was going to go out there, and then there was construction. It was like 9 miles on a gravel road, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to turn around. So
It used
worth
to be
going out
really
there.
It used to be really good. Certain times of the year, I like going out there. Like, honestly, this is time of year right now is probably the better time. And then anytime after a rainstorm, don't even worth trying. I don't like going out there. It gets really muddy, and the fish get really stingy and just don't hit anything out there. So, but there's some big fish to be caught out there during pre-spawn. There's some decent sized ones out there.
Thanks.
Very nice. Tony, what about yourself? What's your PB? Even though I kind of know.
Yeah. Well, I was in Texas, so it was like 7.3 when Tim and I went down there for a trip for a largemouth. In Kansas, I caught about, it was like right at 6 pounds. Like I've caught a couple of them that were Perry Lake, Cedar Bluffs, and Cedar Bluffs. So I don't know why that's my favorite, one of my favorite lakes. And then for smallmouth, last year in a Sunflower Weekly tournament, I caught a 20-inch, 4.02 pound large or a smallmouth. So that's my PB smallmouth. That was fun. Tim was really mad at me because I actually caught the 6 pounder 1 week at Perry, and the next week caught a 4 pounder at Clinton. So and
he's like, look what I caught, and I'm like, you turd.
Yeah, that's not what he said, but he was like, nobody does that. Nobody gets that lucky. You like that's 2 weeks in a row. How'd you do that? Because I'm
sitting there with my 3 13-inch fish.
Yeah. So I caught them on, caught the smallie on a finesse jig, and I caught the largemouth on a finesse jig, and then the other largemouth on a crawl, just a Texas rig crawl. So
Very nice. Well, next question. I'm just kind of going along here. Matt, do you have any apps you use, like for your phone, like a deep dive app or an Omnia app, or is there anything that you use to help you prepare? Technically, like Google Maps.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing I use is like Google Maps. I'll go back on like Earth throughout the years and see when the lake water levels were low and try to get an idea of what the structure's like below the water line. But besides that, no, I don't have any apps. So
Okay, CP.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. Google Earth and Google Maps, and then the nautical maps, like the contour maps. But that's it.
Okay, Jennifer.
I did deep dive last year, but yeah, mostly Google.
Yeah. Okay, Austin.
Just use Google and my fish finder, stuff like that, maps and stuff.
Okay, very nice. Tony, probably just one more question here, then you can take it back over. Is there anything like what's your day look like when you go on a fish? What do you pack in your lunch? You pack what, snacks or
you carry a snackle box?
a snackle box? Yeah, do you carry a snackle box? Matt, what do you pack? You're kind of like a beef jerky guy, aren't you?
yeah, this year it's been beef jerky, some water bottles, usually an energy drink in the morning. Just something to get me through the day. Then after the event, straight to the lunch box, and usually got a sandwich or a wrap or something to kind of recover afterwards. So kind of difficult for me to eat on the water because I want to keep fishing and keep using my time.
CP?
Yeah, I'll bring water and then just some snacks and stuff. But I've been doing like the last year or so. I saw this from Drew Gregory. He brings like canned food, like soup, like chicken noodle. That's what I do. I bring like chicken noodle soup, canned food, and I just chuck it down.
Chili.
And then it's not for everyone. I'll tell you that.
I feel you. I actually, so you don't warm it up or anything. I'm assuming you just sometimes set it in the sun. Yeah. People make fun of me for eating cold food, and like I'll just eat cold food. I mean, if it's cooked.
You look like a cold ravioli kind of guy there, Tony.
No, I actually don't like ravioli that much.
Yeah, you do.
Spaghettios, maybe. Yeah. I think I would definitely eat cold SpaghettiOs from a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
You carry like a big can opener.
Maybe some pork and beans.
Full tab.
Doesn't taste the best, but it's fine. A lot of sodium in it, but.
Jennifer, what about yourself?
Granola bars, popcorn, and I always pack a sandwich, but I never eat it.
Yep.
Over at Pony Creek, I pulled out a bowl of cheesecake. Ate that.
Like a cheesecake?
Who doesn't love a good cheesecake?
Yeah. Austin?
I always make sure I have water and Gatorade, but honestly, I don't ever hardly eat too much during tournaments and stuff like that. I usually just lock the rod in my hand and just keep going at that point.
Very nice.
I may have a problem. I always eat. I don't think I Usually it's when I'm going across the lake because I didn't catch anything, and I'll just set the cruise on my XI3 and like point it at the direction across the lake and hit that, and then I'll just start eating. And then sometimes I'll oh wait, I'm almost there. I better watch where I'm going.
Derek got me started on the Uncrustables, like for kids, basically, because 4 o'clock in the morning, you just throw them in your lunchbox and you're out. Like it's a piece of cake, and it actually works pretty well. One more question, Matt. Are you looking forward to any lake this year? What's one you're looking forward to coming up for tournament fishing, and why?
I think the one I'm looking forward to is in July, where we go to Fort Scott, Cedar Creek, and Bone Creek.
Yep.
And I've only been to Bone Creek, so I need to do some research on Fort Scott and Cedar Creek. That's going to be interesting. I think all three fish well from what I've seen so far. It's just going to be a matter of picking the right one at the right time of the year, or for the conditions down there. So,
CP. Any you're looking forward to up there?
Well, not a local trail, but I really like the big bass stuff that they do in the Ozarks every year.
That's
Eco
pretty fun.
fishing. Yeah,
Did you
so
get
I
to do
look
it
forward
last
to
year?
that one. I didn't do it last year, but I did it the year before.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that one.
We might see you there. I'm kind of planning on going, but we got some bunch of tournaments, so I'll have to look you up.
Yeah, Matt, have you done the big bass?
The Eco Challenge?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Eco fishing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me,
okay,
Tony,
yeah.
Yeah, we all did it last year, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there was
It's
like
fun.
13 people from Kansas, so that did it last year, 13 or 14. So
Yeah, and Stoney won it.
yeah,
Yep.
So, Jennifer, any you're looking forward to? And
Probably Brushy Creek. That one looks pretty good. And then the Glacial Lakes, just because I want to catch some big smallmouth.
very nice. Now that's I don't know if you guys like Milliken or not, but is that the one where he fishes and there's like barns in there and stuff that you fit? You can all those glacial lakes up there north that have the giant 5-pound smallmouth in them. I think that's the glacial, isn't it?
I don't know which one that was.
Yeah, that's in South Dakota, but
South
I don't know
Dakota.
if it's the exact one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Austin?
Probably Wilson Lake. I got
Yeah.
the championship. I look forward to that.
We hope.
Hopefully. I feel like it's probably out of all the ones on our list for tournaments, it's probably the one I know the best because I fished all summer long last year out there. So
I think if it's like it was last year, we just throw night crawlers and minnows. We'll approve it the night before just in case, or we'll follow Matt around.
No,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Let me ask this, Matt: did that glide bait play a role last year in the Wilson tournament?
I didn't throw it at Wilson last year.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just curious. Tony, you want to take over?
Yeah. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I do want to let you give an opportunity. If you do have a sponsor that, you maybe want to shout out, if you got any social media we can follow you on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's like, Matt Skucius Fishing or YouTube, TikTok, whatever. So Matt, you got any shout out, or is it just yourself or sponsors?
It's just me. I don't do YouTube. I don't do any of the video podcasts like you guys do unless I get lucky and get invited on one. But just want to shout out to all the new guys, stick with it. Your first couple tournaments may, be rough, but just keep grinding. They get easier. I mean, it sounds strange, but they get easier. And I know Tim and Tony would always help out. If you guys have questions, I'll be able to assist and have questions, learn as much as you can and just, stay active. So then if you got a weekend free and you want to go fishing, message one of us, and I'm sure any of us would be happy to meet you on the water somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. I say show up to the award ceremony in that, right? So you get to meet us and meet Matt and everybody on this podcast was at the award ceremony. And so if you didn't get to show up, that's okay. But I know it's a long drive for a lot of people, but you get to meet new people and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for that, Matt. CP, you got any shout outs for sponsors, podcasts?
No sponsors. I don't have any sponsors, but shout out to all the, local clubs, in Kansas or Iowa and Nebraska, without people willing to dedicate their time, I wouldn't have the privilege to be able to do them. So shout out to Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska clubs. And, that's pretty much it.
Very nice.
Jennifer?
No sponsors, but I have a pit crew. My husband likes to fix things that go wrong on the kayak or my big to him, especially when he watches the kids while I'm out fishing.
Gets
Or
the
doing
impact
a
in the old dolly.
But if Yum ever wants to sponsor,
Maybe you'll get it. Maybe they're watching tonight.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Austin, you got any sponsors being an up and coming angler?
Nope. I don't got any sponsors. I don't really do any social media. I thought about doing some YouTube stuff, but I don't know if I want to mess with that.
It's a lot of work.
It's not too bad once you get into it, but
It's kind of like one of those things you like. For me, for my YouTube channel, my videos after I've done them, I know exactly where to cut. They're all kind of generic videos, but But you know, you get it easier because you know exactly what you're doing, how to add this, how to add that. It makes it real easy. So, so yeah, so that's kind of our show for tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm not sure if we'll get another episode in before our next, but the next one will probably be around June 6th, 7th, after the June 7th tournament at Big Hill. So we'll be interviewing those people in June. Hopefully they'll be able to do the podcast. But yeah, thank you all for joining, and I think that's it. So everyone have a great night. Yeah.
One last thing. What's your prediction for Big Hill?
I wonder.
Or who's going to win? Who's going to win, or in inches?
Inches for the win.
I think it's usually been around 86. So I'm going to say 80. It's in June though, so I'm going to say 88.
88.
I'm going to say 90, and I'm going to win it with smallmouth for the first time ever at Big Hill.
I'll go. I think it's going to be a good event. I'll go 97.5 for the win.
Oh wow!
Dang. Is that by you?
No.
If someone goes up the creek and the creek's on fire, it will be probably I'd say mid to high 90s.
Did you? Do we have any guesses who's going to win?
Probably Clayton.
Clayton for a dynasty with third year in a row.
Well, you know, Daniel's pretty good up there too.
I was going to say Daniel Maffea. He's pretty good on that lake, especially if that creek's on fire. He can get in there.
Kevin won it 1 year too, I think. Kevin Kerr, didn't he win it there 1 year? Yeah. So.
Scott says, "Nice work, everyone," and so does Derek. Nice job, everyone. Thanks, guys. Anything else to add? I mean, I got all night. No. I'll talk fishing all night. So,
hey, Jennifer or CP, what do you guys think? What's your next tournament again, and who do you think's going to take it, and how many inches?
Okoboji, and I won't be, so I won't win.
What did it take last year at Okoboji? Do you know how many inches it took last year at Okoboji? You don't? Okay.
94.
94
last year. Yeah, that's my next tournament too. I think is going up to Boji. But they apparently have 5 bass boats tournament during the same day.
Oh my goodness!
So.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know.
Is there a lot of places to launch? A lot of boat ramps up there? I haven't been up there.
There's actually not as many boat ramps for how big the place is. I think there's a bass boat tournament for every big boat ramp there is. They're all launching out. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 bass boat tournaments going on. So it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Well, it was bad 2 years ago when they shut off all the coves too.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, the canals.
Yeah.
So
that's.
But I still think I'll take 95 inches at least. So
95. So when I was up there, the guide, he said if this was 2 weeks later, there's a little bridge you go underneath, and then you go out to the main lake. And we were fishing underneath the bridge. He goes, it's like a 30 to 45 minute wait to get through the bridge as the boaters go out to the lake. And I'm like, oh my God. But you look down in the water and you see 3, 4, 5 pound smallmouth just swimming underneath you. And you're just like, I was freaking out. And they're like 10 feet below me and you can just see them just swimming through the grass, all these smallmouth. I'm like, man, yeah, I need to get up there. So
my biggest beef with Cedar Bluffs is there's not enough boat ramps.
There's like 3.
One of the people that fish with us, he's part of the KDWP. They do a lot of fundraising and stuff. They're talking about as that is one of the options to put out a new boat ramp at Cedar Bluffs on the west end. So
that'd be nice. All right. Well,
thanks everybody. You can stay on for a minute if you want. I am ending the live stream. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
thanks everyone.
Appreciate it.
Yep.